how do we, right now, await a new heaven and a new earth? It was 19 years ago today, and about this very hour, I was at St. Sebastian Rectory, and I was getting ready and dressed, and it was a day where I had all these emotions. I was super, super excited. I was super, super scared, and I was trying to be hopeful for what was about to happen. You see, because shortly after this hour, I started driving to St. Andrew's Cathedral for my ordination. And I knew it was going to be a day of a new heaven and a new earth in my life, and every day since then it has been. And I love being a priest. I absolutely love being a priest, and I thank God for all that He has done in my life. But how do we live a new heaven and a new earth in our lives today? Because that's what God is commanding us to do. In our very first reading, it's from 2 Peter, it's all about a new heaven and a new earth. You see, at the time that Peter's writing this, the Christians at this time are just really sort of sitting around, or just anticipating the Lord to come. There's a heightened expectation that the Lord's coming at any minute, and we need to be ready. And Peter says, the promise of the Lord is that there is a new heaven and a new earth that's coming to those who are righteous. And he goes on to say, be without a blemish, even a small little blemish. It's all about a new heaven and a new earth for Peter, who writes these words of great encouragement. Our gospel is too, and in a strange little way perhaps, though, but it's all about a new heaven and a new earth. But people don't realize it. It's in their midst. And just a side note, the Pharisees and Herodians, they would have been on opposite ends of the town, right? The Pharisees are a very conservative group. They're very much about the law. They are anti-Rome, but they're very, very conservative. The Herodians, on the other side, are more laissez-faire. They're more liberal. They're sort of more pro-Rome, and yet now they're together because they have an enemy, a common enemy in Jesus. So they present to him this question: is it lawful to pay the temple tax? And of course, Jesus asks for a coin, and they provide one, and he says, whose head is on it? Because the image at that time, whosever image was on the coin is who the coin belonged to. And of course, they show that the coin belongs to Caesar. And Jesus, in his great wisdom, knowing how to maneuver around any confrontation, says, well, give to Caesar what is Caesar, but give to God what is God. Jesus is the new heaven. Jesus is the new earth. And yet they don't see it. They're only concerned about tripping them up on what he may not be. How are we today going to live a new heaven and a new earth? God has laid it on our hearts already, and it's for us to believe it and to live it. God is giving us the grace right now to make that new heaven and new earth come about in our lives. So let's live this day today joyfully in God's name.